Just trying to. Good evening, everybody. I am super pumped, actually. I could not be more excited tonight. We have a very, very special guest with us today. Her name is Sall, and you have to forgive me because our wonderful journalist, Annette, usually does the interviews, and I've kind of just been giving this amazing interview, and I'm actually super stoked, so I actually can't wait. But she has a company called Giggle, and it's a girls-only social networking platform that's in 83 countries. Is that right?
Yep. Yeah.
And it's basically it's a safe space, pull me up if I'm wrong, where you can hang out, have a chat without the misogyny.
Yep, exactly.
Okay, now I know that was like not the best intro.
No, it's a place where girls, women, females of all ages can connect securely and privately. It's sort of like Tinder in the way, it's a swipe and match. And we chose to do it that way so that everybody has consent and choice over who they are talking to. And then all of the conversations are private. You can find freelance work, roommates, like people to form activism groups with, support, health. We're launching a bunch of new categories very, very, very soon. And it's completely free to use. And so if you rent a room or you're looking for roommates or doing freelance work, we don't take any fees. So it's just completely free and for girls.
Bloody amazing. And I'm like already getting comments, people saying what a bloody brilliant idea. And it is a brilliant idea, but it was born from your own experiences, because Sall, sorry for my terrible introduction, but you actually have a very long history in Hollywood as a Hollywood screenwriter, and you actually sold within 18 months of moving to the States. LA. You actually sold a script within 18 months. Yep. So obviously you're not just one of those people that's gone over to try and make it. You actually did. You were in there and experiencing what the rest of the world hears, and all about the sexual abuse, the misogyny, and the shenanigans that go on deep inside Hollywood. Can you share some of that with us tonight?
Yeah. I will say this. I found it so much easier to enter into the industry than once I got there. Because once then I was starting to go into rooms with producers, executives, directors, and the like, everything changed. I had male managers, I had male agents, everything. But I was writing scripts for girls. I wrote romantic comedies. And I was already tired of always having to justify, like they'd be like, oh, do girls really do this? I'm like, yes, trust me. Who's the girl in the room here? But then, bad things started to happen in rooms. When it started to happen, I told people about it. No one cared. It would always just go and wow them with a great script. And I was like, but I don't want to see this person ever again. I don't want to go back. And so who became the unprofessional one? I looked like I was the unprofessional one. And so over time, I was there for 8 years, but it was definitely sort of around 5 years this happened, quite consistently. I started to lose the ability to write. And I now learned through therapy that I'd lost the ability because subconsciously it was survival. I didn't want to go into the rooms. Writing meant having to go and experience it. So eventually I remember I woke up one morning and was like, I can't get myself out of this hole. And so I eventually moved to New York, where I was looking for a room to rent, and which was in itself crazy because there'd be, these guys saying, oh, you can, if you want to just walk around naked, you could live here for free. And I'd be like, seriously, I'm just trying to find a room to rent. Like I have to deal with this in my professional life. Why do I have to deal with this now? Then I found this apartment with 3 other girls, and it was one of the most life-changing things I've ever experienced, because it reintroduced me to having a female support network. Anyway, then eventually I came back to Australia, and I was actually just coming to visit. And while I was here, my mum and I just were talking, and basically it was my mum who said there should be a place for girls to help girls and to connect privately, because one of the things, especially in Hollywood, how they are able to get away with everything, and it's still happening, is it's very isolating. So that everything
that's part of the strategy, though, isn't it? Isn't that just kind of like the age-old thing? And we were talking off camera before. There's us first then in practically everything that we do. It's men versus women, it's white versus black, it's gay versus straight, it's trans versus bi. It all feels very kind of like separate.
To be honest, I wasn't really raised that way. Like, I've told this story a few times that I was pretty gender blind. It wasn't until I got out into the real world that I realized that nobody else was. So for a while, I thought the stuff that was happening to me was deserved or based on lack of ability or something, until I realized it was actually me being female that was putting me in the situation. It had nothing to do with anything else.
So, I mean, without going too far, and obviously you can talk as much as you want on what you're comfortable with, but like, what kind of things were happening to you? Because this is it, people hear about it and they read about it through the media, and we all know about censorship and everything else. Like, and we interviewed actually another person, Susie Dent, who was interested in taking down Ralph Harris, and had the same situation. Went to said, this guy's running his hand up my leg, doing all these different things, and nobody cared.
Yeah. Oh, I would have that. I remember probably one of the worst ones. There's two really bad ones in a professional situation I dealt with that were really sexual by nature. One time at the end of a meeting, this guy, he'd sat on the couch with me, which in his office, which was weird. You know, usually you sit on opposite couches or something. He sat on there with me, and I was like, oh, I don't like this. And then just before I left, he like put his hand down my pants and grabbed me and said I looked good in skinny jeans. And I was just, I remember walking back to my car being so shaken, going like, you know, you're like, did that happen? Yeah. You can't even process it. And then another time it was at a hotel bar, but I was there for a meeting, and he was immediately like, I've got a room upstairs, let's go. I said no, like I left. Again, who's the unprofessional one? Because one's
the casting couch, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's that thing. And it's so bad. I know that for a lot of women, it's kind of like, well, and a lot of it, sometimes you kind of, and I hear a lot of different stories, and I've interviewed quite a few different people on the same thing. You kind of, you're frozen, and you don't know what to do because you're in such a big situation. Your hopes and your dreams are all coming true, and it's very tricky.
Because, you know, like I've always found that I've had quite a strong moral foundation, and I studied philosophy. I did a thesis in ethics, so I've always felt like I sort of knew a lot about that area. But I was in the situation where I would tell people, and it was like, you're crazy. No, that's just how it is. Do you want your movie to get made? And I was just like, I know this is wrong. But after years and years and years of it, one, you just stop telling people.
Yeah.
And two, you go, am I crazy?
Yeah, well, it's an accepted thing, isn't it? And I think that especially in those types, and the thing is, people, I'm assuming that people are just going, yeah, well, it's just what happens. And I think that's awful. And I think that what you've created with Giggle is a step in the right direction, because, and have you had any hate yet with people saying, listen, you know, like creating an all girls club is not necessarily, you know what I mean? Like the solution.
Yeah, I have. Yeah. In February, I posted a video just to Giggle's Instagram about the misogyny that I deal with now doing this, because it's completely different to what it was like in Hollywood. I don't have any like sexual abuse or harassment anymore. I think I'm too vocal about it. I think at this point,
leave her alone.
But just I mean, run of the mill misogyny, really. And so I did a video about it, and then woke up the next morning to basically the same trans activists who are going after J.K. Rowling now were going after me and Giggle. And I was panicking straight away, not realize I had no experience with these kind of what turned out to be a lot of trolls, that it didn't matter that Giggle actually does welcome a lot of trans women, and that we also have a place on the app for if you are biologically born female, but you are starting your gender identity journey and want to connect with people in private, we have a place for that. So I've tried to do everything I can while staying under that, you know, umbrella of female only. And it's like, in the last week, I've had to explain to a lot of people, because the trolls are coming back because of J.K. Rowling, that like I support everybody and I see everybody existing. I have no problem with that. But in this particular business, I am focusing on females. That's the mission. And while I support anyone with who they are, and I think there should be an app just for trans gender people. I think that would be brilliant, because when you are with sort of your tribe, so to speak, you get empowered, you get confidence to go out there into the real world. So, but if you present as a man, I have to think of also all of the other women who are coming onto the app who are wanting a break from that gaze that we do have to deal with every single day.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I love the way that
doing something for women is controversial. It shouldn't be, but it is.
No, but it shouldn't be. I'm the same. Like, I do have this conversation quite often, and like being part of like women's networks and clubs. And everything, it's kind of like, it's lovely because you get to go and hang out with women. But you know, at some point, you know, in my head, I go, at what point is that equilibrium going to shift? And as the mother of 3 children, 1 boy, 2 girls, I think, you know, I think, well, and you say things like, what about a boys' club? Like, oh, they've always had a boys' club. It's like, well, you know, and I totally resonate with what you've said, Sal. Like, it's literally, I think it's more than okay. I think what you're doing is absolutely incredible, and it's necessary.
If somebody was like, oh, they've made an app just for boys, a place for men to communicate and connect with each other and share stories and get support, that's not a bad thing either. No. It's not a bad thing to just have your space for a moment and be able to share and not be intimidated. It's nice. And because we have things like lots of other social networking or social media that is so exposing and getting increasingly full of trolls and attacks and things like that, and making us more divided in a really negative way, I wanted to create something that has a division, but in a positive way. On Giggle, we can't have trolls because we have the verification to get on. I mean, it would be a labor of love for a troll to have to sit there with multiple different phones. It would be a full-time job. We've made it as troll-proof as one can at this point.
And that is absolutely incredible. And I totally get it. And the thing is, you can't foolproof anything or troll-proof completely, and you're always going to get one that slips through. And I, you know, I think that we're getting a little bit too oversensitive. And look, I'm not downplaying anything, and I don't really want to get too much into the politics of it. And I think everybody should be able to have their place. But when somebody's doing one great thing for one cause, because we can't solve all the problems of the world, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You're doing a great thing, and what you're doing is absolutely incredible. So can you tell me a little bit, I know, like, dial it back a bit. You were telling me before how you were in an apartment and you had a life-changing experience with some women in the apartment that led you, when you came back to Australia, to begin Giggle. Tell me about the beginning.
Okay, so I moved into this apartment in Brooklyn in New York, and it was me and 3 other girls, and we just clicked instantly. We didn't actually really go like out in public and like into each other's lives that much. It was very much, we were our support network at home. We'd go and live our lives, we'd come back. And then you would know this as well. When you get a group of girls together, the conversations are ridiculous, and just the dirtiest conversations, some of the things, we would laugh all the time. And it was just, we were all very much in a place in our lives and coping with experiences where we needed that. And it changed my life, with me going, okay, life is better with a female support system around. And so when I came back here and I was talking to Mum about it, she just thought it was the greatest thing. And so over a bottle of wine, we just were talking about it. And my mum said, we need to do something for girls to help girls. And then we decided we would make an app. Now, I don't know how to code. I don't really even know what that is. I don't know anything like that. But we were just like, it didn't really bother us. We were drunk, but it still didn't really bother us. And then it was actually my dad he took the idea seriously. And so he would wake up at 4 a.m. every morning, and he was teaching himself how to digitally design an app. Like if we were going to do this, and then educated himself on the industry and the business, and gave me things to read so I could start learning everything of like, okay, could we pull this off? So then over the space of about 4 or 5 months, I would draw pictures of what I wanted the screen to look like. And then he would have to sit there doing it all on a computer. And like, I'm talking stick figures and arrows, and no, I'm not an artist in that respect. And so then after, about 6 months, we had a working demo. We did a family and friends fundraising round. We took it to developers. They did an amazing job. We have an amazing guy who does all of our back end and did the algorithm and everything, so that with Giggle, like Giggle is a collective noun for a group of girls, but it's also what the app does. There's a reason why it's named Giggle, because you can create micro groups of up to 6 people. Everyone has to consent to be in the group, but it's literally creating giggles if you want. You can connect with just one other person, or 2 or 3, 4, however many, up to 6. So yeah, we had to create the algorithm for that. Again, I'm not in the business of creating algorithms. I would just say, I want this, make it happen.
I love it. It's so good. Like, and all over a bottle of wine. And your dad, how long ago did you start?
We first had the very first ever conversation about it in August 2018.
Wow.
Yeah, so we had a working demo by February last year. We took it to the app developers. We wanted it to be finished by August, September last year. It wasn't. That was sort of the biggest sort of hiccup. We had to wait. And then we just did a soft launch in December last year. Then just with some loyal followers to make sure, like, finding out any bugs and everything like that. Then while we were still doing that and implementing everything, that's when the trolls discovered it. And then, yeah, we've just sort of been steadily growing ever since, and then had a really big week this week. So it's kind of all starting to really happen.
Do you know, just on that, and especially because people like, and I don't know about you, but I get really excited when somebody trolls me, and especially like in the businesses that I have. Yeah. I get very excited because for me, it's an opportunity. Like for you, it's finding like almost like them saying, hello.
I'm not excited by trolls. No. I don't like them at all. I think it's an utter waste of time. I think that it is the worst aspect of human nature that is becoming normal. I think that's wrong. I don't think it should be encouraged. There is a huge mental health side effect for a lot of people. I always say I'm so pleased that I finished high school before Instagram and Facebook, because if you, like, once upon a time, if you're at school, but maybe you didn't have a lot of friends at school, but no one knew what your life outside of school was like. And like lots of people did have these rich, like, social lives. They just hadn't connected with anyone in school. Whereas now everyone knows that about everybody. If you're not like you're not the most popular in every aspect of your life, that must be a lot for young people to deal with. Yeah. So that's why one of the things on Giggle, we made sure that there's no popularity contest with it. No one will know how many giggles you've made, how many people you've connected with. It's no one's business but yours.
Wow, so that's basically how you do it, and that's in the algorithm. So because I actually haven't been on it, I need to go now.
Yeah. Download it now.
Check it out. When you've got, say, like, you just explained it before, so you've got 6 people in a group. How do you? I mean, have you experienced any trolling inside those groups?
No. We've talked a lot about this. No, we've talked a lot about it in the sense that can you connect with somebody thinking that you'll get along and then go, oh, actually not really my kind of person? Yeah, that's genderless. That's just humans. Like, we've all thought we'd get along with someone and then been like, not really my type of person. That's just normal. But no, we haven't had anybody actually trolling yet, which is nice. One of the things I do want to dispel is, I think, like, it's just such that easy, cheap pop culture joke that, like, when women get together, they're bitchy or competitive. I just don't experience that on any large scale that I would make sort of any big claims about it. It would just be on sometimes, that it's a person that's not really for you. But yeah, I think that when women get together, we do empower each other.
Yeah. So I mean, like, you've obviously, like, you don't script write anymore. Is this it? So Giggle full time for you now?
Yeah.
And okay, so it's completely free. And I'm going to ask this because we have a lot of people that are in business and actually watch our show. Mm-hmm. How do you monetize it?
Oh, easy, advertising.
So you take right? And so you align with.
Yeah, so we haven't implemented all of the different advertising features on it yet, because it'll organically be introduced over the next few months. It's sort of population based, but we have we call them our main real estate ads. One of them's just on the home screen, and they're just non-invasive ads, and they just have, like, they don't take up the screen, they don't interrupt your experience or anything. And they're just there. So that we don't have to charge anything. We don't, one of the big things for me, like as someone who was a writer for 10 years, and I did a lot of freelance writing on the side, I hated having to give 20% of my money to the website that I had, gotten the freelance job through or something. That it was just, they just introduced me. They hadn't done anything for it. And if you're really like writing something that takes a lot of your time, and then, you're only getting paid $200 for it, and then you've got to give 20% of that away. And then all the other places that your money goes to, it just suddenly becomes not worth it. I wanted it to be, if you get the job and you do the job, you take the money for the job.
Yeah, no, I like it. That's good.
It's not, I don't think it's my place to take someone else's money in that context.
No, I mean, look, and this is it. When you're starting something out new, the whole point is getting up, getting running, and actually just start to iron out all the creases, and then look for opportunities where you can actually monetize and grow.
Exactly. And then the next thing we're doing, so we were getting ready to do our next investment round just before COVID hit. So that had to be paused because we're actually doing, it's called equity crowdfunding, and it only sort of became accepted in Australia in December 2018. And it's when just everyday normal people can become investors in your company. So you can buy shares. So for like, say like if shares $1, you can buy 200 shares for $200. And when we learned about this, I got super excited. One, because it just seems completely organic to Giggle, that we can like have just real normal girls out there coming on the journey. I'm working for you and with you every single moment of the day. We're doing this together. And also, I didn't want to sit in an office with VCs having to quantify misogyny to them all.
No.
A losing battle.
Oh, that's funny. That's very similar to what Sheba did the same thing.
Yes, no, Sheba, they've done 2 rounds of equity crowdfunding now. Yeah.
Yeah. Again, the same thing, like I'm quite sure that they're like, it's just female. But the thing is, they're solving a problem, and you're solving a problem. That's exactly what you're doing. So what's next? What's your next S-bend? Is there
We have like a really, really cool thing that we are designing for Giggle at the moment, but I don't want to say anything about it yet.
You have to kill us.
Yeah, but it's probably the thing I'm most excited about.
So how do you gather, like, do people tell you, hey, look, we love what you've got. It'd be cool if it did X. Do you get a lot of that?
So sorry, say that again.
So with people that are actually engaged in your platform and using it, do you get a lot of people giving you feedback and saying, this is amazing?
Yes, but that's the thing. The people, like the girls who are actually using it, send us the most beautiful, amazing messages. And that's what annoyed me when the attacks happened, because they were drowned out. They're starting to come through again and their voices are being sort of heard on the App Store and Google Play, which makes me very excited. But we get really lovely messages all the time. I have no complaints from dealing with all of the girls around the world at the moment. I'm very excited.
So, I mean, I want to go back to the J.K. Rowling thing, because I know that for the people that are watching that don't know about it, can you just kind of run through it?
Okay, so last week, J.K. Rowling retweeted an article that said basically that people menstruate. And she said, oh, there used to be a word for that, and did a bit of a wordplay on women. And she got piled on from trans activists about this. Then she doubled down on it and said, like same position that I have, really. Like, I will fight for your rights with you. I acknowledge your existence, but it is okay to say it's not misogynistic, not transphobic to say that women get periods, and it's okay for women to have single sex spaces. So when this started, I was like, oh, I've had this happen to me, like the same trolls going after J.K. Rowling and now have gone after me. I always feel I have to put a disclaimer here. I've never read a word of Harry Potter, so I'm not some like J.K. Rowling fan. Yeah. I've always liked her as a person, but I've never read a word, haven't seen the movies, don't know what happens in the books. But I just sort of felt like, I was like, well, I didn't get a voice when it happened to me, and I don't have the J.K. Rowling pedigree behind me. I'm just a regular girl with her mum starting a business, and there was this orchestrated attempt to try and have Giggle shut down, which was very scary to deal with. So I wanted to have my voice heard in it. So I wrote a few articles this week about it, and they have been retweeted by some really big feminist writers, which is, the writer in me is very excited about this.
I get, like, I mean, listening to what you're saying, and the thing is, like, for me, I kind of just think, what kind of society are we in? The people that are actually attacking you are wanting the same thing that you're actually providing for people that they identify with and that they hang out in their groups with. So in what world is it okay to be able to say to a group of people that they can't have what they want?
Yeah, I didn't I got the word, the sort of the slur that you get called is a TERF, a trans excluding radical feminist, which I would never have even considered myself a radical feminist. I apparently am. And I've learned to accept that I'm going to be called these words no matter what I do, unless I want to just stop trying to help girls, women, and females. So that's just like how it is now. But when you're getting messages saying like kill TERFs and die TERF and shut up, it's confronting, especially because I've never said anything or would never say anything like that to the people saying it to me, and seeing what is being said to J.K. Rowling. It's disgusting. It's abuse, and it shouldn't be tolerated.
Yeah, and no, I totally agree with you. I think that it happens in so many different spaces, and especially with everything that's going on in the world right now. I think it's absolute craziness. And the thing is, go on.
Tim Berners-Lee, the inventor of the internet, actually did an interview in March saying that the abuse that women get on the internet means that it's not actually working out well for women and girls. And so when you go, well, the inventor of it's saying this, he can see that it's not going well for all of us, because you miss out on jobs, your self-esteem, you don't get to use the internet in the same way of these other people who don't have to fear that.
Yeah. No, I seriously, I have to congratulate you, because I actually really do think that what you're doing is incredible. And I know it's hard, and I know that you've got trolls, and I know that you've got haters, but the thing is, you've just got to carry on in spite of it. And the thing
it's a lot of fun as well. Like, there's lots of good, I don't let the trolls get us down. It's just sort of the hot topic at the moment, I suppose.
Well, what do they say? They say once you get trolls and haters, you've made it, right?
Yeah, totally.
So obviously you've got something. You've obviously got something very special. And I am going to go and check it out. And I have, like I said to you before, I've got girls and I've got a son. And it's not that I don't think, I would never come to a platform like yours and say, hey, what about boys? I would say, are you considering a platform for boys as well?
I would encourage somebody to do it. I don't know if I'm the face of it.
No, clearly.
That would be my answer on that.
Yeah.
No, as I said earlier, I think there should be a place for boys. The collective noun for a group of boys is a plush. I gift it to anybody who wants to go and create it.
Done. And if anybody's out there looking for a great concept, she's doing it. It should be done. I hope someone does, because I think that encouraging boys to open up and form connections with each other is healthy. Yeah. And it's just as important as female, and it's just as important as everything else. But the thing is, you're running a business for yourself. You came up with a cracker of an idea over a glass of wine. Your dad did his thing. Your mum's done her thing. And it's absolutely amazing. And actually, my husband's just commented and said he hangs out on PlayStation 5. 4. PlayStation 4. Which is what I said earlier in the interview.
Yeah, my brother plays like games and stuff. He'll kill me if I get this wrong. I'm going to say Warcraft, and I don't know if that's something.
Warcraft.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, they all talk and things and connect. I think that's cool.
Sal, can I ask how old? Can I, if it's okay? Can I ask how old is your dad?
61.
And that is bloody proof for anyone that's saying that they can't learn something, because he'd never built a platform before, had he?
No, he understands tech stuff. He just has that kind of mind. Yeah, he was in real estate. Like he was not like, didn't have a background in tech or anything, but he can just pick things up, and he sits there and he's a perfectionist. Like, it would sometimes drive me insane. I'd be like, it's fine, it'll do. No,
it will not do.
Yeah. But he sat there and learned every single thing. And no, it's great. He's the only boy involved with Giggle, and we're training him to be a girl. And
good.
He's our honorary Giggle girl. And no, he's great with it. He's now content with the fact that Mum and I are always right.
Well, that's right, isn't it? I'm sure we're going to get trouble. We're going to get shot doing this. But this is part of it. We're allowed. And,
it's obviously like like there's some things that are a joke, but no, I mean, he has been so supportive. We would not have been able to do it had he not learned how to do that and we'd done a demo, because then we would have been so green going to app developers or anything. We wouldn't have been taken seriously.
Listen, Sall, thank you. You have, honestly, I can't say it enough, and I am going to go and check it out. I'm so inspired what you've created, like with what you've created. I'm not even joking. I've actually got somebody that I think would be able to do the platform for the boys. So I'm actually going to go and tell him, like, send him your way.
Yeah, fantastic.
But, is there a parting message that you can give to anyone who's actually facing misogyny anywhere, not just in workplace, in schools, everywhere? Because as you know, it's everywhere. Is there something that you can give for the people listening to kind of, Yeah,
the first thing is you're not going crazy. You are experiencing that. That's the biggest thing. Because I find that I would sit there going like, hang on, is that what it is? Questioning. And don't get me wrong, it's good to sort of sit there and like have a moment to make sure. But yes, if it's what you're experiencing, acknowledge it and either deal with it by speaking up or removing yourself from the situation. And you can only assess those on a case-by-case basis.
Yeah. And you know what? Never stop telling somebody, because actually somebody will listen. Thank you so much, Sall. Thank you for joining us on.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it so much.
It's awesome. And look, we'll have you back. I'll be following your journey. Yeah, we'll definitely keep you in the loop. But thank you so much for spending your time with us this evening. We really appreciate it.
No problem at all. Thank you.
Thank you, Sall.